Yeah. Okay. Hello. I am No Spiky Spiky, and this is the No Spiky Spiky Natural and Low Carb Food YouTube channel. I know you're not used to, if you've watched on YouTube before, you're not used to hearing my voice because usually I just type and record my hands cooking. But this time we're going to do it a little bit different. And I have a fascinating interview today. But first, if you haven't watched before, where have you been? You need to watch this channel. No Spiky Spiky is a natural, low carb, diabetic friendly, healthy recipe channel. I like to keep close to nature as possible. And we're also a little bit quirky. Link to the channel is in the description if you're watching from my lovely guest's YouTube channel. And please like the video if you enjoy it and hit the subscribe for more. And so I've got a bit of a story to tell. So No Spiky Spiky wears glasses, okay? And No Spiky Spiky doesn't want to wear pesky glasses. So what's a girl to do? So to find out how to ditch these glasses, she embarked on a treacherous adventure over land and sea, hell and high water, through desert and jungles, and she ended up in San Francisco. And in San Francisco, she ended up speaking to the famous Meir Schneider. If you don't know who he is, then where have you been? He is an author, educator, therapist, founder of the School for Self-Healing, and overall superhero. Hello, Meir Schneider, and welcome. So please tell us about yourself and your amazing backstory.
So I was born in the Ukraine, and I was born with cataracts. That is so unusual. Only one out of 20,000 infants are ever born with cataracts. Many people have cataracts in their 60s and 70s and 80s, and those are definitely preventable. One thing I would like for people to hesitate is to take steroids because they can cause cataract. And another thing is, is that I really want you all to look at this wonderful YouTube channel. But before you look at the distance for 5 minutes to give your lens a break. And all of you pay attention. If you, for example, look out of the window and then you look at your hand, look at all the lines in your hand, then look again out of the window, you can see it looking at your hands is more strenuous than looking out of the window, which is counterintuitive. But actually looking at the distance is relaxing for the lens muscles. So many people get cataract because they don't use their eyes well and they take medications. But I was born with it, and my two kids were born with it. And there's a whole story about it. It has to do with the fact that my father had a secret laboratory of picture production in the Soviet Union because he was selling pictures to churches. And I was born with those chemicals, and it may have caused me some changes. But nevertheless, my kids already have my genes. And so my 34-year-old son, my 30-year-old daughter, they were born with cataracts. And what medicine found these days, and to explain it, I'm not anti-medicine, although you may have that impression with the rest of my talk. They basically discovered that in the first 8 weeks of life, most infants don't look at anything. But then after 8 weeks, they look. And if the brain cannot see what they are looking at and cannot discern it, you become blind for life. And in my case, doctors made tremendous experiment because my grandmother was very aggressive in trying to find a solution. Since my parents are deaf, and it's my grandmother from my mother's side, and my mother was deaf all her life, or most of her life, from the age of 3. She just didn't want a blind grandkid, but I was the blind son of Ida and Abraham. All the deaf community in Tel Aviv knew that. So she wanted to find a way to heal me through surgeries. But take a look at this. This is the picture of a normal lens. And this is a picture of my lens. It's as if you swapped on a glass and broken it into pieces. So I had two
Mm.
reasons to be nearly blind. One is that the surgeries started, and I had five of them, at the age of 4 and finished at the age of 7. Second, the lousy result of those surgeries. In the case of my kids, they removed the lens. There was some scar tissue, but we refused to allow them to do it again. My daughter sees about 20/20, which is 100%, slightly less, but not much. My son sees
Wow.
20/20. And that has to do a lot with the eye exercises I was teaching them and some other things. But basically, physical therapy for the eyes doesn't exist. I'm very happy there's physical therapy for the body. I'm not happy with how they perform it. We should connect
Mm.
between body and mind and body and the brain. But there is no physical therapy, not for the eyes, not for the ears. If you lose your hearing, well, there is a hearing aid. If you lose your vision, there are the glasses. And nobody does anything to get you to see better.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm going to teach my class, the 6-day eye class. It's worth it for people to fly from anywhere. And we have some people coming from Europe, one from Czechia, that used to be the Czech Republic. And we have people coming here from Spain, and we have people coming from Japan. So maybe somebody can come here from Great Britain and work with us. But short of that, you can take a look at my book, Vision for Life,
Mm.
which will describe to you in many ways how to improve your vision. And we have a little DVD that comes with it. My most famous product so far, which kind of surprising to me, is a DVD that was published by a big company called Sounds True. And that was called Yoga for Your Eyes. But I have several books and tapes, and we have wonderful classes online that people can purchase. But the main thing is in person. So, if in your permission, I would like to tell you the principles of natural vision improvement, at least some of them. And the difference in principle and exercise, we invent exercises that relate to the principle that we establish, basically.
Wow. Wow. It's incredible to hear. I mean, if you can imagine from the people that listen, if they've never come across this before, to think that we've never heard, that you can actually heal or improve vision. And the fact that you've actually been blind and now can see, is it 70%?
Exactly.
70,
I started 1% vision. I have 70% vision. I drive, I
yeah.
read and write, and I was in the past the quickest braille reader in the state of Israel. But as I was introduced to eye exercises, I spent hours upon hours practicing them, and the result was really amazing to me. The result
Wow.
is that I can drive. I prefer not to drive at night. My vision is still not as normal as yours, but
Yeah.
it is. I'm allowed to drive with no restrictions, no accidents, except for
Yeah.
a silly parking ticket that I got last week. No tickets.
Oh dear. We all get them from time to time.
Yes. Um,
Ah,
so if the principles are this, first of all, it's important for us to know that we strain to see. It's kind of
yeah.
contradictory to what most people think. But the more blind you are, the more you strain to see, is what I've learned, basically.
Okay.
And when you lose vision, you really strain to see. But people with nearsightedness don't know that they keep straining to see. So the first thing we want to do is let the world come to us. If we see well,
Mm.
it's fine. And if we don't see well, it's fine. So not to strain is important. And then to relax the eyes deeply. And an exercise that I do a lot is called palming, where I rub my hands and put my hands over my eye orbits. And I have this nice instrument called palming stick, where I can make it lower and higher upon my wish. So this is the exercise of palming. Okay. The next thing that I would like to say is that it doesn't always work. Your hands have to be relaxed for the palming to work. Then we work on adaptation to light. Many people escape light. You can hear from all kinds of people that you have to wear sunglasses even indoors, which is a very big mistake, because then the pupil never constrict all the way. In fact, the sunlight is so healthy for the eyes, and we need to adapt to the sun. And it's very good for us. And so we have a specific exercise where you close your eyes and you move your head all the way from side to side. But the sun can also be harmful. So I would like to suggest from people to look at our videos, and or the best is to have personal instruction of facing the sun. And the next principle is actually adjusting. I mean, same principle, we adjust to the dark of the night. There is no night in London. There is no night in San Francisco. There is no night in Tel Aviv, Sao Paulo. There are very few places in the world where you don't have street lights. And there, many people walk with flashlights, which is also not good. But being in the dark of the night is one of the most important things, because you wake up parts of your periphery. And then looking at a distance is important. And then looking at details is important. And developing peripheral vision is important. And balance use between the eyes. So those and many other principles that we have, we created wonderful exercises so we would be able to accomplish that. People come to me with sunglasses, and after a short while, the sun doesn't bother them at all. People come to me unable to read from near, and then they can start and read. And people come to me unable to look at details, and some people lose the vision in the macula, which is the central part of the retina, and they start to be able to look at details. So those things we accomplish, and it's written in my book, but the best is to see me in person and work with me on that.
Wow. So you've got a course that people can come to and attend. Is that right, Meir?
Right. The 22nd to the 27th of February this month, we have a 6-day course. People, as I say, are coming locally, but also from everywhere in the world. And for 6 days, basically mainly 6 half days, so you have time to process it and work in the afternoon, we work on seeing better. Normally, people improve their vision by 4 lines on the chart. But I tell you, one of the things that we do first is help people to not be intimidated by the eye charts. And if you can pass me an eye chart, it would be great, Sean. Yeah. So for example, if somebody is very nearsighted, then we ask them to stand from a distance where they can see at least the 2 first lines without glasses. And that could easily be a quarter of the distance that the doctors expect them to look, like 5 feet. So they would stand from 5 feet. Those who see 20/30 or 20/40 see this line from 20 feet. We do ask them to stand from 20 feet. And so people who can see whatever vision they have, we want to make sure that they stand from an unintimidated distance. Normally, in this course, people improve by like 3 or 4 lines. So if you only saw this
3 or 4 lines. Wow.
yeah, you end up seeing here sometimes from the same distance. And so the idea is you slowly improve your vision from the distance you stand as you practice, and then you move further, and then you improve again, and then you move further. And then we suggest for people to take reduced prescription. So instead of seeing 100% vision, they see 80% vision or 90% vision. Sometimes it doesn't work for the psychology of the person, because they have to see everything 100%. And we're sensitive to that, and we don't push anyone to do it. But the general recommendation is have your glasses corrected to 80% vision, keep them in the pocket and just put them on to be able to see interesting things. And you can pass me a pinhole, Penny. And the result is that within 2 to 3 months, they see 100% of 20/20 with those glasses. And then we reduce them again.
100% sort of,
Yeah.
oh, in those glasses. So then you reduce it again and yeah, carry on really
And
until.
this
So
is
how long would you expect this to? Oh,
this
what are you
is
wearing now, Meir?
pinholes. Pinholes.
Pinholes. Okay.
And that does the work of the people. So every audience at home, for example, you can look through your fist, okay?
Yeah.
And anything you look through your fist seem better. So those pinholes are simple holes. So you look through those holes and your vision is sharper in 60% of the cases.
So
People
does it have lots of little holes in it to sort of see
exactly.
through?
And so
Okay, pinholes.
that could be transition from glasses to no glasses. And so
Right.
people can walk in the street, and if they see a sign partially, but not completely, they can put the pinhole for a moment,
Yeah.
the whole sign, and keep going. I mean, glasses are addictive.
Yeah.
The more you wear them, the more you need them. And often you go to an optician or optometrist, and you could be stressed, especially if the optometrist has about 60 people in the waiting room.
Yeah. Especially if your optometrist is grumpy. If they're a grumpy optometrist, it would make you stress, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. And you test it. Normally, this is something they don't know. You actually see worse when you're being tested.
Really? Wow.
And then they would give you glasses. 2 or 3 days later, you got them, and they don't really fit you well because they're too strong. So they
Yeah.
will get used to the glasses. And you said, okay, and how do you get used to the glasses? You weaken your eyes. Just like you get used to walking with a cane,
Yeah.
and then your legs become weaker. You get used to the braces or wheelchair, and then your legs become weaker. We have to always exercise. So the point is, I know some optometrists that will prescribe you 20/40 or 80% of 20/20 or 80% of 100%, and you'll see better. And that is an amazing thing.
Yeah. Amazing. So the chart that you looked at, so often if people come onto your course, they get 4 layers better, 4 levels better on the eye
Yeah,
chart.
4 lines better normally, yeah.
That's
In 6
amazing.
days.
Is that after 6 days, Meir? 6 days?
Within the 6 days or at the end of the 6 days, they get it.
Oh gosh. Seriously, why am I not in San Francisco right now doing this?
That's my
I
question.
don't know.
The weather is good right now.
It's the weather. That was one of my quick fire questions I had at the end, actually. So the weather's good, is it? Because, I am English and English people are obsessed with the weather. And I think the reason why is because all we ever see, and I hope I'm not offending all the English, no spiky superheroes, but honestly, it has literally not stopped raining for a whole year. I think we had about a week of decent weather. And what is it like for you in San Francisco?
Well, I thought you live in a nice exotic island. Anyway.
Oh, I wish. I really wish. I mean, I was
Anyway.
born in the wrong country.
Anyway, what happens here is we did have terrible rains for a few days. They
Yeah.
called river of some sort, river of water. But for example, in the last 2 days, it's so sunny, and Jean and I are walking in the park, and we just have a lot of fun. I sometimes run bare feet on the beach these days.
Oh, wow.
I use it every day. So yeah, it's the weather here is pretty good, sometimes windy, but in the winter, especially, it's a good time for people in the US back east, where it's snowy and it's freezing, to come here. And the
Okay.
sun is normally here. I mean, to talk in Fahrenheit, basically it's around 60, 65 degrees here, when it is something
Okay.
like 30, 40 degrees in back east, and sometimes less than that.
Mm,
So I think people
yeah.
would love it if they came here and
Oh,
rested.
it sounds
For
sounds
cheap
rather
rent,
nice. I
cheap-
like it. No, I likey.
Absolutely. And our place is by the ocean, which is so beautiful.
Oh,
Uh,
I love that. It's very relaxing, isn't it? And great for your vision. Because I have watched some of your videos on your YouTube channel. So check out Mia's YouTube channel, all this no spiky superheroes. It's great. And you've got loads of videos and where you're looking over the beach and doing sort of distance training, aren't you, with your eyes and just
Absolutely. And
relaxing while you look at
the waves and the mountains and the hills. It's so nice.
mm,
The eyes really rest at the distance. And
yeah.
for example, one of the techniques is to look with both eyes at a distance. Can you give me the glasses because of touch? Both eyes at a distance. Then to obstruct the stronger eye, and most people have a difference between the eyes. One is left, one is right. My case, my
Yeah,
right
mine do. Yeah.
stronger. So then to look with the weaker eye at a distance, then to look with both eyes at a distance, then to close the eyes and visualize the distance. And most people, after visualization, the ones that we suggest to them, start to feel like the distance came closer. They
Mm.
see way better. So
It's
this
almost like it's slightly in the brain. It's sort of, you
vision,
know,
vision is mainly in the brain. Vision is
mm,
mainly the brain. The brain actually is the one that makes the eye longer or shorter. When you look a lot at the computer, and these days people do it more than ever in the past, then what happens is some fluid fills in between the lens and the retina, and the eyeball becomes longer, longer, and longer. And so
really.
a lot of changes happening because of function. I'm a true believer that function affects structure. Many people think otherwise, that structure affects a function.
Mm,
But I really think that while it's true in the most of the cases, the function affects the structure. So if
well,
you tense your neck, then you don't have enough blood flowing to your head. From there, we have
yeah.
most eye problems that lead to blindness and most hearing problems. So loosening up the neck becomes something very important.
So the whole body is connected, isn't it? So you can imagine how it would affect sort of different parts. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's interesting. Yeah. Is it a modern world issue more so nowadays? Is it getting worse, people's vision, because of all the computers and the screens?
Absolutely. Take a look at this. In South Korea, where you have people playing on their phone from the age of 2 or 3, uh,
Yeah.
something like 94% of the people are nearsighted. 94%. On the other hand,
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
if you go to the person in Africa, if you go to the Bedouins in the desert, if you go to the natives in the Amazon, they don't have any nearsightedness. For example,
Mm,
in Sao Paulo, Brazil, 48% of people are nearsighted. In the Amazon, 1%. So
mm,
basically, it is so interesting how our lifestyle causes all of this. When
yeah.
people read books, some became nearsighted. And when they start to look at computers, more became nearsighted. And now that we look at tablets and phones, more are. And one thing
Mm,
people don't pay attention is to the periphery. Like you look at a computer before you know, or at your phone. Do you see people walking on the sidewalk looking at the phone and nothing else exists?
mm,
You did? Well,
yeah.
if they would walk in the jungle this way, they'd be eaten very quickly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
our periphery developed over 2 million years. And
Mm,
now we're narrowing the periphery. As I said, not looking at a distance can cause cataracts. not paying attention to the periphery can cause glaucoma. And not paying
Mm.
attention to details can cause macular degeneration. And the macula looks at details and can die by not looking at details.
Wow. So really, No Spiky Spiky is stuck in 1980, and that is the best place to stay, isn't it? All this modern world with all these smartphones and not so smartphones, it's all too much, isn't it, really? We need to take things back a bit, don't we, to the old-fashioned ways.
I would love that, but that's not going to happen. But what
Yeah,
may happen is people at least respond to the life. Let me give you an
yeah.
example which doesn't exist. Well, most people know you sit a lot, you should walk, right? They know that.
Mm.
They know
Yeah.
it intuitively, and other people tell them. I want to give you something else. If you have to sit a lot, then at times just stand up and hold your chair and bring your leg backwards and your chest forwards. And
Okay.
breathe for more than a couple of breaths.
Oh, I'm balancing on one leg.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you bring the leg backwards and push the chest forward so the neck falls back. And you do
Yep.
that. And then the next 20 minutes that you sit, you relax because it's hard for the back to sit for so long, basically.
Yeah, and I suppose it's like when you've been sitting in one position and you get up and you feel it, don't you? And it hurts your back when you stand.
Exactly.
Whereas if you're moving, you tend to not feel it as much, do you, on the whole? So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Is that the same with the eyes?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly what I want to say. That if you look at that smartphone, please pay attention to your periphery. Wave your hand to the side without looking at it. You can look at your phone
Okay.
and wave your hand to the side. And can you give me the small piece of paper? We also put sometimes paper between the eyes and wave our hands to the side so we block our central vision. We block our central vision and expand our peripheral vision.
Mm.
You see?
So what you're doing is you're getting the probably the parts that we're not using as much. You're getting them working, aren't you? How they were originally
Exactly.
designed to work. Yeah.
Exactly. And before you use the computer, spend 5 minutes
Mm.
waving your hands and looking at the distance. Open the window and look at the distance. That's going to make the big change in your life because you're
So it
one.
doesn't have to be huge things that you do, really, does it? It could be little things like just take a 5-minute break and
Exactly.
do some of these things.
Resting. Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, that's really interesting and quite achievable, really. Where
Absolutely.
should somebody start? If somebody wants to begin with all of this, where would you advise the best place to start would be?
So the first thing you do is for 6 minutes, you sit, you put few pillows on the table,
Yeah.
and you put your hands extremely gently. You rub your hands, then put your hands extremely gently around your eyes. You breathe in and out deeply and you relax. And you visualize
Okay.
the color black because black means no light, no color in your eyes. And
Okay.
that really relaxes the eyes from working because sometimes people in the middle of the day just push the eyes to look, and this rest can make a very big difference.
Yeah. So you're not straining as much. Yeah.
Exactly.
Sounds good. So, with regards to, we're a food channel, and I was thinking about the whole body. We were discussing sort of, like your neck and looking after your body. Does food impact vision? And in which foods would you advise if you wanted to eat better for better vision?
So I would let you advise food because you're a food channel, but the one thing I would say is make sure that whatever food you eat, you chew slowly, and
Mm,
also you don't eat too much.
yeah.
Also, that you feel that you can digest your food at ease. Means, let's say, it's interesting when people sit in my lectures, I know if they ate lunch that they can digest or not. because if they were tired or fell asleep, it
Mm.
means that they could not really digest their food properly. And so if they wake up afterwards, it means it's all good because now they digested it. So my suggestion for people is find out which food does not tire you and easier for you to digest and that you feel is very healthy for you. And
Yeah.
don't eat too late and don't eat too early. Exercise before you eat in the morning and or exercise shortly after you eat. So that's an important thing. And the other thing is, so don't eat too late or too early, and don't um, uh, eat too much. That's very important, I think, in those
Mm.
terms. And what
I
to
know
eat,
once, oh, sorry.
you're the channel that tells people what to do, you know?
I once spoke to an optician who told me that when she looks into people's eyes through the equipment that she uses, um, she can sort of tell if they eat a lot of vegetables because the eyes are a lot healthier. Um, and she also mentioned collagen. As people get older, it sort of helps to less likely to sort of the eyes to just sort of go downhill and deteriorate with age, sort of thing.
Absolutely. If there are different places, I mean, collagen is a good protein, but there is accumulation. You know, the body works in a way that it builds up and destroys itself all the time. Destroy
Mm,
just as important as building up. Our bones are younger all the time because they destroy themselves and rebuild themselves. Our blood
mm,
circulates well because every blood cell gets destroyed and rebuilt, and other bloods are being formed. So
mm,
if you have accumulation of particles that don't get destroyed, it means you didn't have enough circulation. And poor
mm.
circulation leads to blindness in old
Right.
age of quite a few people.
Mm.
And
I know a good source.
eating
Sorry.
vegetables is very important, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. Very healthy, isn't it? I know that with collagen, a good bone broth, a good I've put that on the channel before now. I'll try to link it. But a good bone broth, if you've made chicken or something the day before, and then the next day it's so easy. Just pour some water in, put it in the oven, leave it for 24 hours on a really, really low heat, and eventually you get a nice sort of bone broth. And you can make it taste better. You can add a bit of onion in it and you know, but it's full of collagen, I believe. So we try to have that sometimes. But yeah, I do wonder, should I be taking a supplement? But I don't really like taking supplements really, I prefer to sort of get it through food.
And circulation. The more you have circulation,
Yeah.
the more the body is relaxed, the better your digestion become. Because the most
Okay.
important thing about digestion is peristalsis,
Mm.
movement. And with good exercise, you can increase your peristalsis. Whichever food you eat, the most important thing is to metabolize it.
Okay. Because you're very fit, aren't you? You do lots of jogging on the beach, I've seen on your videos.
Yes, and there is no morning where I don't walk. It has,
Wow. Yeah.
no matter what my schedule is.
Yeah. So you do whatever your schedule, you always find time for exercise.
I have to.
Yeah, that's so good. I mean, I try to. Oh, some days I'm a bit lazy. Lazy, no
But
spiky.
the most important thing about exercise is
Yeah.
sensation, is to work on kinesthetic awareness, to feel, to feel how you move. So, for example, if somebody moves their head in rotating motion, let's say,
Yeah.
slowly in both directions, okay? So we'll do a few exercises here. For example, you hold your nose, and then you know you really have a full movement here, and you can feel it.
Okay. Yeah.
Now comes the difficult part. You rub your hands and move the head at the same time.
Does this turn me into a superhero if I
Yeah.
keep doing
And
it?
now you hold the head and you
Okay.
try to move it with your hands without the neck being involved. And at this point, you really feel and really learn how much your neck is tight or loose. And for
Mm,
example, when I sometimes sit against the wall or lie on a pillow, I move my head from side to side to see if my neck lets me move my head
mm,
from side to side. And then many exercise with the legs this way. Truth of the matter is, we have more than 600 muscles in the body, and most
mm.
people use 50 to 75 of them. And we overwork the same muscles again and again, and not allow ourselves to work muscles we never work. So
That makes sense. Yeah.
our work is to integrate them. For example, many of my classes start by walking and running backwards and sideways
Mm,
and using muscles
yeah.
we normally don't use.
That makes a lot of sense because if you do something different, like go horse riding, you can certainly feel it the next day, can't you, in your muscles? And you do, I always say, well, muscles that I never even knew I had. So
Right.
yeah, you can imagine that is the case.
And then you loosen them by using their opponents. So, for example, if in
Mm,
horse riding you do a lot of adduction, which is a good muscle to develop, then you lie on your back and you move your legs from side to side. It's a form of abduction. This is to move the muscles opposite. So, whatever muscles
mm.
we use, we have to start and use the muscles which are the opponent of the muscles that we always use.
Oh, that's
And we
interesting.
have to exercise, but not to the point that it is too much for the body. We have to exercise
Yeah,
mildly and do it to a point that it feels like it did the job, either caused the sweat or gave us exertion, and that's where we finish. We don't
yeah.
exercise, but then there are awareness exercise to feel different areas of the back that we normally don't feel, of the ribs that we normally don't feel, to start and mobilize our body better.
So you listen to your body when it tells you it's had enough, you stop. That makes sense. Do, No Spiky channel is low carb, sort of natural low carb. Some people who follow the keto diet do subscribe. However, it's not really keto because we don't do all the, you know, we don't have loads of sort of fat or the sweeteners. We like to keep everything natural. We use sort of banana to sweeten and honey and things like that. But a lot of ours are also just low carbs, like low carb people, and also diabetics. And I'm diabetic myself. So I should really ask about because I know that eye health can be affected by
Oh
diabetes.
yeah, I mean, many diabetic patients came to me because of vision loss, and so I want to explain what happens in diabetes. Number one, we all need to have insulin to bring sugar to the cells.
Yeah.
Because sugar by itself cannot get to the cells. And when it gets to the cells, it combines with oxygen. And when it combines with oxygen, it has the ATP molecule that together, I mean, the ATP molecule is the energy molecule we have. So, I'm very
Okay.
happy that, I mean, I have at least I've met one client who decided not to take insulin, and she's doing well. I never told her to not do that, but that's what she decided,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
Oh, wow.
But I
Gosh.
can tell you that the secondary problem of diabetes is poor blood flow. And that's how people get gangrenes in the legs and have the legs
Mm,
cut off. That's how people have a problem with their retina and others. So, for example, I love this instrument, so simple. Let's call it a bunger ball, where we hit ourselves in a very
mm.
nice way. You can, with the bunger ball, get easily between your shoulders, which is hard to do otherwise, yeah? And you can
Yeah.
on your legs and everywhere else. We should all massage ourselves before we go to sleep. And we should always, there's a very good massage that we do, which is tapotment of all the bones, because the blood is being created in the bones. As I told you, the cycle of life is such that our spleen destroys the blood, the old blood cells. Our liver take that parts that are destroyed and send them to the intestine to be secreted, basically. It's called bilirubin. If you have bilirubin, you know it creates a certain color within
Yeah.
our intestine, right? And so
Yeah.
the bilirubin is very important, and what happens is we have to create new blood cells, and the bones do it. So when you tap a lot on the bones, you create new blood cells. That's when the level of insulin can go, the level of sugar goes down in the blood, and you need less insulin, basically. The other thing is that often the problem in the eyes is what I've described to some extent before. Not enough blood gets into the retina. The retina then grows capillaries. They're not perfect, so they leak. And so the doctors destroy those capillaries. Used to be only with laser, now with injections, but they don't stop the process of not having enough blood flow that forces the body to create those capillaries. And so what we do with the retina, in our cases, we do a lot of eye exercises. This beautiful exercise I said in front of the sun, when we close the eyes and move the head from side to side, helps the retina create its capillaries in a more perfect way, so they don't leak. And also, it helps the optic nerve. And when we loosen up the neck and we loosen up the body and more blood flows, then we have much less of the effects of diabetes. You could have diabetes and live without any eye problem for the rest of your life, and you can all of a sudden get blind as well. So the idea is to make sure that you have the best blood flow you could possibly have. And for example, standing under shower massage and having it forcefully massage every part of your body for a couple of minutes every day as you take your shower. If you're in jacuzzi, having the jets heat you. If you're in the sea or the ocean, having the waves heat your body. Those are great things for diabetic patients.
Get the blood flow. What about this cold water? Some people do cold water swimming, don't they? I don't know if I could do that, but
Well,
just wondering.
this is the issue. If you swim in the cold, which I'm all for,
Yeah.
and then you warm up rather rapidly. Let's say you swim in a lake where it's, let's say, 60 Fahrenheit. So it's kind of cold. But you warmed up as you swim. And then after that, you sit over a nice cup of tea and you get warmer. It means it worked for you. If it takes you a day or two to get warmer, it didn't. So the idea is to cool and then to warm up. That means your blood really have flown well. Just like if you're in a hot place, it's good if you can cool off on your own. So it's a measure of having a good blood flow, right? So if,
blood flow, yeah.
where am I for the hot tub? If you sit in the hot tub, but then after that, you're comfortable with your body cooled beautifully. But then you could have all kinds of irregular symptoms like legs which are jerking out of fatigue, tension all over your body. That means that being in the hot tub did not work for you. So it can work for you, cold can work for you. Cold is very important, very good. We protect ourselves too much from the cold, but it's really a good idea to adapt to the cold and to warm up from it. That means you really do well.
So it's actually good. Well, does that mean England's actually good for me then? Because it's always cold here.
Joanna, first of all, love yourself and love where you're at.
Yes.
And I heard that you have a very nice partner, right? So love him and love your environment and your country and your space. That is so important to accept and to love. And then also have variety. Variety is the spice of life. So sometimes you can go to Spain or Portugal. Sometimes, I mean, if you want really to be heated, go to the Middle East. It's pretty hot there right now in many ways, right?
Yes, yes,
But,
it is.
but what
Yeah.
I'm saying is, it's very important for you to accept your life as it is, wherever you are.
Yes, and enjoy it. Make the most of everything. That you mention a lot about the body, and do you do you know you do the eye vision sort of healing. Do
Right.
you also do other things at your school for healing,
For self-healing.
for
Well,
self-healing?
I want to return to this palming, which I think is a very powerful meditation of the mind that helps us to really uh, move away from the tension that the eyes have and the tension the world have. When I palmed for hours and hours, and the most I ever palmed was 11 hours in one sitting, I would feel that I'm connecting to the whole world and I'm not in a narrow space where normally life forces us to be. So we
Yeah.
we definitely work on body and eyes, but I just want to tell you that some of our results are really good, as we mentioned diabetes, but also with muscular dystrophy, with multiple sclerosis, with many, many, many situations. So uh,
Wow.
we definitely work with paralysis. We work with major injuries and often and able to get people out of the wheelchair.
Wow, amazing. So, yeah, gosh, it's a lot to take in, is it? Because you don't hear about this sort of thing very often. It's,
No,
you
but I
know,
think people should see my book, Awakening Your Power of Self-Healing.
oh, I need to get that one. I've got Vision for Life, which I have started to
Good.
read,
And
and it's brilliant. Yeah, but I haven't got the other one. I'll have to get that.
ask from Kyle, and he will forward you the video that comes with Vision for Life.
Oh, wow.
Wonderful video. We have it on if somebody get Vision for Life and the video, it's on sale.
Yeah.
So you can have Awakening a Power of Self-Healing, 600 exercises, 400 illustrations. It's a real good book for support.
Okay. Oh, I'll have a look at that. So, do people get all this from your website?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So they get the other things like the palming and the glasses,
Yeah,
the pinhole
absolutely.
glasses and things.
Yes, and please get my 5 seminars online. They're very good. They're not that expensive, and you can work with them.
Oh, 5 seminars. Okay. I'll have a look. Yeah, that's interesting. So, because we're a very silly channel, Mia, can I ask you some quick fire questions?
Sure.
Some of them are quite silly, and some of them are not so silly, really. It's only about 4 or 5. Well, we've already answered one because we've done one, which is what is the weather in San Francisco today? Because I'm English and we're obsessed with the weather, but we've done that one because your weather's very nice.
It was wonderful. It started a bit cool, and we loved walking, didn't we? Yeah, it's very nice today. It's a sweater weather, but it's very sunny.
Wow. Well, people laugh at me because I always watch. I don't know if this is just. I think it's just an English thing. Met Office channel on YouTube to check the weather, and it's a bit of a running joke. And Mr. No Spiky Spikey bought me a T-shirt with Met Office TV on it and a weather chart on my last birthday. So yeah, very English. Very, very
But
English.
you must have many uh, audience because when I was in England, people all the time spoke about the weather.
Oh gosh, yeah, we're obsessed with it. We really are. Okay, so the next question, do carrots really make you see in the dark?
Well, if you don't have enough vitamin A, then eating carrot is good. I can tell you that I eat carrot and juice carrot, and I love it. Uh, but what makes you see in the dark is adaptation to the dark. So one of the things we have in the 6-day eye class is we take a night walk in the park, and we start people not seeing well at all, and then starting to see better and better. in the dark. We do with them all kinds of exercise, like the peripheral work we did, the palming in them. We stand and we palm, and the night becomes brighter and brighter to the point that somebody told me that the brightest morning she ever had was one park walk with me at night. You know, so he said the brightest morning I had was one night walk with Meir in the park. So we do that. I remember the darkest night I ever had was in Singapore among the trees, and I had a huge class of 150 people, and we walked there. And as we palmed and as we did our peripheral exercises, then the night became so much clearer. And so the point is, we don't give the eyes a chance to open the periphery. As soon as you have sunset, people turn artificial lights on. And many people are sitting with artificial light all the time. I didn't have any choice. I put lights on so I will be clear on the screen. But as soon as we finish our interview, I will disconnect the lights. And I really like the daylight. And we have some nice daylight from the skylight in here. And so people have to get used to the dark of the night. And one thing I want to say, please, if you have children, turn off the light in the corridor or in the hall. Have people get used to the dark of the night. Very important. Getting used to it will change our metabolism to the better. The pituitary gland will work better. We create our own melatonin. The creation of melatonin is just as important as the power of melatonin for us. And also, at the dark of the night can help open up cells that normally are shut off by us. And that puts a lot of pressure in an imbalanced way on the cells we never work.
Very interesting. Almost like taking us back to our caveman ancestors who who definitely didn't, not probably, definitely didn't have lights on at nighttime. As soon as it gets dark, they would have to put up with the dark, wouldn't they? So
And they
yeah,
saw so much better than we see, judging by
Mm.
the fact that there are primitive tribes, their vision is 3 times better than the vision of a person who sees 20/20 or 100% in modern world. So they have incredible vision. And, but that's how nature is. And our retina fits nature. There is,
Yeah.
first of all, darkness, then there is dawn, then there is sunrise, then there is morning, and your eye gets used to all of that. And then there is sunlight, sunset, twilights, and slightly more and more darkness. It takes 40 minutes for the retina to wake up all the way in the dark, and we never give it a chance to do it. So if you want to see well in the dark, walk in the dark and do a lot of the peripheral vision we advise. And then, by the way, you will prevent glaucoma.
Interesting. So this is actually one of my questions, my quick fire questions. Are LED lights or halogen lights better in the home? Because I know in the modern world, it's very much LED, everything. I don't think we can even buy halogen lights anymore in England. But our halogen, the more old-fashioned, no spiky lights, keep everything old-fashioned. So are they better for our eyes if we
I
do have our
believe
lights on?
so, but I believe so, but here's my expertise ends. I'm not sure about it. But
Okay.
okay.
So maybe for something for people to look into if they want to. Another question is, are you related to Bernd Schneider? Bernd Schneider, I think it is, the famous racing car driver.
No, and I'm a slow driver on the road.
Are you a slow driver? Do you know what? I'm not called slow, spiky at driving for nothing. I always have a queue behind me of people. And do you have one word of advice for someone wanting to improve their vision?
Yeah. First of all, breathe, then blink, and always blink gently and nicely, and look at details and look at the distance.
So
And of course,
breathe, blink, details, and distance.
yeah.
Perfect. That's brilliant. Thank you, Meir. You're officially now a No Spiky Spiky superhero.
I so much feel honored, and I feel so great to be on your channel and to be on your show. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
and anyone who subscribes to the channel will automatically be a No Spiky Spiky superhero. Or if they subscribe to Mia's channel, which we'll put a link in the description below, of all the information and your course, because just remind us a bit more information, because I know that's starting in is it a couple of weeks time?
Yes, the
Yeah.
22nd of February until the 27th. It is Thursday through Tuesday, including the weekend. On Monday, we have the night walk. You know, I want to tell you, there was one guy who had red eyes and couldn't work anymore. And one night walk took the redness out of his eyes. It's just
The
amazing.
redness. So it was red on the white parts of his eye, was it? So
Yeah,
is that
exactly.
from eye strain or?
Exactly.
Wow. Gosh, yeah, because I struggle with eye strain, especially with my left eye, 'cause it gets very dry. And I try to stay off the computers as much as possible.
And loosening your middle back really helps that dryness. So when
Ah,
that, because the neck is being supported by the middle back, and
yeah.
loosening the middle back can take away the dryness. Yeah.